This is Scott Richmond.
And Arnie Sherman.
You're listening to What Do You Know on Newstalk KGVO, AM 1290 and 98.3 FM. Arnie, how are you today?
You know, it's summertime and it's pretty good. I can't complain. You know, our weather has been, pretty awesome most of the summer, and it's a chance to be outside. It's Missoula at its finest.
Well, I was going to finish the lyric, and the living is easy.
Easy. Well, easier than when I talk to my friends who are stuck in traffic for 9 hours, in L.A. or New York or Washington, D.C.
We're lucky.
Yeah, a buddy of mine got stuck. There was a one-car accident on the bridge going over from D.C. into Alexandria, Virginia, and it took 4.5 hours to go 6 miles.
Unacceptable.
Think about that. Trying to get home on a Friday night to be with your family, and you just get locked into all of that, and we have the luxury here of not having to deal with that.
Time is worth more than money sometimes.
Right. And that's part of that leads nicely into our show today. We're talking about the largest mixed-use real estate development, in basically the history of the city, the old Sawmill district.
Wow.
We've talked about it on the show before, and
about a year and a half ago.
Ed and Leslie Weatherby are the developers of this, and
yep.
The condos are almost all up and operating, and people have all moved in. There's all these other properties that are under development. There's apartments. There's student housing that's going to be available in a year from now. There's a fitness center. There's a shared workspace. There's a food cart. There's a restaurant coming. There'll be 700 people living there. Literally, right
city.
in the core of downtown. And there's a dog and bicycle cafe. All of these things are happening there, and it's becoming every day more and more of an urban community in the heart of Missoula. So it's a very exciting project. It's been a labor of love for Ed and Leslie. Ed started more than 15 years ago. The conceptualization, was on a hazardous waste site. The old sawmill here in Missoula. And they had to clean all that up and donate a piece of land for a park, which is heavily used. Silver Park, and next to it's the minor league baseball stadium where there's concerts. There's lots of stuff happening there, and there are a lot of things that are now sort of opening up. The condos were built, but now these other things are happening. There's commercial clients moving in the next couple of months. There's again, apartment dwellers moving in. There's the health club opening. All these things are happening, and so I thought it would be good to bring them in and to let everybody among our listeners know what is happening, right under their noses.
Yeah.
Sometimes people drive by and say, "Look at all that stuff," but they don't know what all that stuff is.
So give it a little more, because now it's got more shape and form to it. So
there are a lot of different products now that are within the next month or two everything will be open pretty much in the next few months, except for student housing, which will be good for the 1920 academic year.
Is it safe to say, Arnie, that the old Sawmill district really is an extension of downtown?
Sure. Well, look where it is. I mean, you can see the hospital from there. The aquatic center's there. There's the bicycle jogging pathway that goes right from there all the way to the university campus and beyond. It's connected. It's less than a mile.
It's very connected.
When you think about it, I mean, here people say, well, less than a mile seems far, but in most cities, if you're less than a mile from somewhere, you're pretty close and connected.
Absolutely.
The Fox Theater project will be on the other side of the river. They're contemplating another footbridge that'd be closer to Front Street. So you can literally walk out of the center of Old Sawmill District, and you can be downtown in under 10 minutes. Walk.
That's great. And and I'd love to hear more about like the types of products that they have, the clientele that they're going after, because I know that a lot of retirees were looking at those first couple of waves. Well,
I think that'll share with you that it's a mixture of not just retirees and people coming back to Missoula and the students, but a lot of the tech companies here are hiring people, and they want a little bit more of an urban experience. They're coming back here from Chicago, New York, Portland, Seattle, other places like that, and are moving here. We're going to have the development's going to have Advanced Technology Group. 100, at least they have 125 employees.
Wow!
Many of those people are not originally from Missoula; they're from other places that have moved here. And some of the other companies that have, bubbled up in town here from Luminad to Submittable to Vim and Vigor, on and on and on, are bringing in people from other places.
Great place to live and work.
Yeah. And it's, while Missoulians complain a little bit about the cost, relatively speaking, you have people that are moving in here to higher salaries coming from more expensive places. It doesn't seem that, onerous.
Right.
Condos from the low 300s to 600s to Missoula seems a little bit, high. But not anywhere else. I've been looking, even in places that are considered cheap. If you go to Las Vegas and you want to be in the nice part, like in Summerlin, you want to go live in Summerlin, and you want a nice condo with, you're going to pay $500,000, $600,000, $700,000.
Yeah, you are.
For a nice place, and 30 minutes away from the Strip, and you got to live there. Same thing in Scottsdale. Same thing in these other places that are considered, affordable retirement areas are not any less expensive.
Right.
And then obviously, as you get closer to the coast, try to replicate the Missoula experience in places like, Bellingham or Bremerton,
right,
or the coast of Oregon. You can't get it for the same. You can't get what you get here for the same amount of money.
No.
So it's more expensive than maybe people in their mind are used to. But just like, I'm older now too, and I'm shocked at lunch prices. It's hard to find a lunch for less than $10, a person.
You're right.
And people under 30 say, well, $10 is nothing.
It's
for lunch.
nothing.
They're
used to spending that money.
Yeah, they're used to spending money. I mean, if you're sitting in a coffee shop, just listen to as they click up a coffee and a Danish or some kind of breakfast thing. It's $8, $9, $10 every pop. I'm used to in New York, coffee and an egg, roll with egg and bacon for $3.
Well,
and they still have that.
They do?
Yeah.
What, in the carts?
Oh, no, in the carts, but also all the little luncheonettes, as they were called.
Oh, yeah, that's
have
right.
the breakfast. You get eggs on a roll with a cup of coffee for $3.
Yeah, you're right. That's right.
But not here. Not anywhere else in America.
No, really. You're right. Well, we're looking forward to speaking with Ed Weatherby from the old Sawmill District back after this.
You'll be sweating.
We're in the studio here, and we're talking about lighting and cooling things off, and now we got a hot topic.
Yes, we do.
Who's here?
Ed and Leslie Weatherby.
Return guests.
Return guests, talking about the old Sawmill District. And for our listeners who did not hear a previous show a while back, why don't you give us a little bit of the history of the old Sawmill District, and then we can talk about all the exciting things that are going on now.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks for having us here. Leslie, you want to start with that?
Sure. So we have been working on this project for about 15 years now. It was a blighted lumber company or blighted site that started out as a lumber company back in 1910 and had been abandoned for about 25 years. So we have been working on this project, going through cleanup, working with city, state departments, the Environmental Protection Agency, Department of Environmental Quality. And through a long process, it is now all cleaned up and became ready for development, which we actually started construction 3 years ago. So our first building was completed 2 years ago now. We are just about to finish our fourth building of Poly Square, and it'll be in about a month, and we have a lot more going on that we're really excited about.
So these first four buildings are condominiums.
Correct. Condominiums for sale.
And they're going like hotcakes, right?
They are.
Which is really exciting. And now you have, what's the next thing coming online of the myriad of things that are going on?
Well, there's a handful of things going on right now. We're actually kind of running in circles right now. We have 2 buildings. Well, we have 6 buildings total on the site right now that are either completed or in the process of being completed. We have 2 that will be coming online in the next 6 weeks. So the next biggest one here is called Cambium Place. Named after, for those of you who are in that world, cambium represents the layer of cells that just talk about a next generation, the next growth of
a tree.
Of a tree,
yeah,
right. So we're really excited about that because it's got 69 really nice residential units in it for rent. It's got what we call our C3 co-working lounge, which will be awesome for innovation, co-working. Get out of your house, start a company. Or in some cases, people are well established, but they just need another place to be and work.
We call it your home office away from home.
Right.
And then our fitness center, Brio Fitness, will open here in about 2 months, which will be awesome. And I have to tell you that it will have what I'm told is the first Himalayan salt sauna, I believe, in the state.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, right?
Repeat. Himalayan salt sauna.
Yeah.
Scott's going to sign up for that.
That's the schwitz.
Yeah.
It's for you guys.
It's a salt. Yeah, exactly.
Wait a minute, but is it a dry sauna or a wet sauna?
Dry.
Completely dry?
I think it's both.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm doing research.
Yeah, we need to research this.
And is there a fitness expert who's going to be running Brio? Is that ready to announce?
The answer is yes, but not quite ready to announce.
Okay.
We've been Bridget Baxter on our team has really been leading that effort to get it to where it is now, and she'll follow through with it. But we have just hired a great lady who will be the director of that, and she's putting together a team of instructors and fitness
staff.
Experts, and it'll be a great place for not only working out, but programming and classes.
Right, so it's not going to be a passive fitness center like a lot of buildings have. This is going to be a very interactive, state-of-the-art fitness facility.
Oh, absolutely. And matter of fact, some of the equipment there, you can get on, you can connect to TV, internet, health apps, all kinds of things from, for example, your treadmill. You've got that screen in front of you. You can do amazing things. So, but it's all about programming, for every demographic, from our students. Yeah. So it'll be our student project next door to seniors and everything in between. It'll be great.
Do you have the concession where I can have donuts while I'm on the treadmill? 'Cause that's really important for me, to burn calories while I'm taking calories in. So let me ask you this question. What is the difference between a co-working space and the old executive office space that they used to market, around the country? You could go and, use a temporary office when you were in town, kind of a thing.
That's a very good question. We get that quite a bit, actually. And the difference is that in today's model, it's about a social environment as much as it is a work environment. And of course, there are private offices where you want quiet. You want to make your private phone calls. But there's also times where you want to get out and collaborate and talk with others, and there's programming. So, for example, there'll be what we'll call brown bag lunches, where we'll bring in a special speaker. There'll be mentors addressing kind of the innovation space. A much more active environment.
Well, it sounds like all of these new products that are being developed and brought online at Old Sawmill are kind of value-added products, not just passive products. Because when I think of executive office space, there may have been a receptionist, but you were there on your own. When I think of a health club in a building, it's you swipe your key and you walk in and you do what you want to do and leave. And these things seem to all have amenities that have raised them up several notches from those kind of models.
Absolutely, and I think we need to also talk about this being a campus, that each building is additive and complementary to the next. We have great places to live, we have great places to work. There'll be more buildings with greater places to work, and they're connected. And live, work, play has been our tagline for a long time, and that's exactly what it's meant to be—a very active neighborhood.
So, yeah, and I would say we're not just building buildings; we're building a neighborhood.
Right, and that's a good way to look at it, and I can conceptualize that. So if you're living or working in Camion Place, then you have apartments in there, you have the work lounge, you have the Brio Health facility, but you also have corporate clients, you have business clients in the same building.
So we have a commercial area. Part of the building is commercial, and the other part of the building is residential. So it's a mixed-use building. So the east side of the building does have all of the things we mentioned, and then we also have several floors or areas of office space for lease. Which our big news a couple months ago was that ATG will be on the third and fourth floors. They are taking that entire space. Wow. So they will have about 130 employees there.
Right. That's Advanced Technology Group.
Right.
They're downtown now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And they'll be, so they're really excited about that. And we're really excited to have them there.
See, Scott just said something interesting. He said they're downtown. But this is really, in many places, this would be considered downtown too. So how far is the development from like the campus, from City Hall, from being in the heart of, of those other areas?
Yeah, this is part of downtown.
It's
just another part of downtown.
Yeah, we're considered in the growth area.
Yes.
And it's a 5 to 10 minute walk to downtown and a 20-minute walk to the university.
Yeah, and you have a
it's
trail
close.
to the university as
Mm-hmm.
well.
The hub of all city trails is right behind our new student project called the Sawyer. It's about a year away from coming online, but we are right there. Trails on the south side of us, the old Milwaukee rail to trail deal. Then there's the Riverfront Trail, of course, and the hub of those trails is right behind us.
Mm-hmm.
Let me talk about Sawyer coming online.
Can we talk a little bit about the residential for Cambium? We never got back to that.
Okay,
that's
important.
Residential, we talked about 69 apartments for lease, but the amenity space is amazing. So you come in, there's a beautiful lobby with a big fireplace it's a see-through fireplace. So you see from the inside, but you also see from the outside. And then, nice seating areas in there. There's a conference room for our residents to use. We also have, as you come through, then there's a great room that opens up to the second floor. It is beautiful. It's got a huge rock fireplace in it. And then a lot of really nice seating areas, tables so you can bring your glass of wine down and sit there and hang out in front of the fire and enjoy your wine if you want. We also have a chef's kitchen. So if you decide you want to have a dinner party or a cocktail party and your apartment's not quite big enough, you just reserve that space and you're able to have your party in there. We also have it adjoins a courtyard that's amazing. It has 2 gas fire pits, a water feature, outdoor barbecue grills, pergolas. Yeah, a lot of really great seating areas and a regulation size cornhole grassy area. If you're into cornhole, man, this is the place to go.
Well, what I really like about the development is the fact that so many people these days mix work and pleasure and living together, just like the theme. And the fact that there's a conference room and places where, some people who are, self-employed or distance workers can have additional amenities right where they live, and they don't have to go seek them out somewhere else.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got, along with the fitness center, we hope to have other health-related amenities and services. We haven't talked about our food truck yet.
No,
our
favorite, Scott and my favorite topic, food.
We love talking food.
We just we acquired a food truck from a friend of mine actually who was in the business in California, and we are going through the process of getting it permitted. We're really excited about it. It will be on site and it will be around town once we get it. We've got a new wrap that's being designed for it and getting it all ready to go. So we're really excited about that. But you'll see it. It'll have some kind of old Sawmill district, Sawmill Grill.
Yeah.
Branding on it.
Wow.
It'll be great. Casey Engel is our food and beverage director, and he's really excited about getting that going. And then following next summer, we'll open the Sawmill Grill. So that'll be right next.
Which is our gastropub.
That's right across the street. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
With a complimentary pizza and ice cream service. So it'll be a great thing for the neighborhood.
And Casey's going to be in charge of all that?
Casey's in charge of all that. And not to mention, or not to forget, we have, they've been there now, I want to say a year and a half or so, is the Dog and Bicycle Cafe.
Oh, yes, they are great. And they've become a local favorite.
Right. They're a little coffee shop and pastries, and our office is right behind them. We've gained a few pounds. But, yeah, they're great.
It's dangerous being that close.
And just for our listeners, what's Casey's food background? Because he's going to be the, maestro of the food portion of the old Sawmill.
Yeah, so Casey has been in the business, oh my gosh, I don't even know how many years, but he has worked throughout Montana and California. He recently came from the Flathead Valley where he reopened Schaefer's and Riley's, and he's been doing that for the previous 3 years, and he was at Many Springs at Flathead. He has a big following in the Flathead Valley.
Well, that's good.
He was also in California doing a lot of things. He's actually a U of M graduate, so he's really excited about being back here, loves Missoula. He's done a lot of international cooking as well. He's gone to different schools, and then he's done a lot of consulting, and so spent some great time in Thailand and in Vietnam and China, and I don't remember where else, but
well, it's important
he's pretty
to be able
amazing.
to differentiate what you're doing compared to what everybody else is doing around town.
Yeah.
No. I didn't want to say that, but
our little social get-togethers have taken on a whole new level at this point.
So the Sawyer, you mentioned the Sawyer. What's going to be going on there that's going to attract students to come and live there?
It is. We have a family of 4 boys. They're now in their mid and late 20s. They've all been through college. They've, in some cases, grad school, and I can't tell you how many different living environments we've seen them go through. And there was one a few years back at Ithaca College that really inspired us, and that was this concept of it's an off-campus environment. It's a communal in the sense that there are 4 roommates, but they each had their own privacy with their own bedroom and their own bathroom. And I asked one of the boys, what is it about this you love? And he said, I love the community part of it. I love having my friends close, but I have my little bit of privacy as well.
Nice.
And that was really, and then when we started doing our research, we realized that this is a concept that has been deployed in many college towns around the country. And in fact, I think it's the fastest segment of the multifamily industry. It's a very popular student environment. But our goal was to create what we sometimes call a boutique living environment. We don't mean that in a snobby way, but it's in a small, comfortable, family-style way. We have 57 apartments, 218 beds. We have a huge common area, but we'll have all the things that students need. We'll have the bike mechanic area and a ski tuning area and lots of study rooms. So it is about academics. It is about being a good student. There's lots of good programming as well. So
does everybody live in a quad, or there are other options as well?
Well, we have the options are that there are 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and 4-bedroom pods. And the nice thing about that is when you have 4 people who are roommates and one quits school or moves out or whatever he does, the other 3 have to pick up the rent. Well, that's not the case here. We're doing a per bed cost.
Sure, and that's a constant problem with
Right. So it's really nice, and they're getting this beautiful home for themselves that is only a very short walk and very quick bike ride to school.
Right. The trail is right out the back door.
Yeah. So and they're lighted trails if they're walking at night.
You said when somebody drops out or moves out. When I was in college, I lived in a 3-plex with 2 other students. We had an engineering student as one of the 3.
Right.
And he was one of these anal retentive guys who said, well, I'm only going to eat 2 of the dozen eggs this week, so I'm only going to pay 1/6 of the cost of the dozen eggs. We threw him out, so we had the need to find another roommate. Let me ask Leslie this: we got 4 buildings of condos.
Yes.
Who's moving in? Is there a typical tenant that's moving into the old Sawmill on the condo part?
There is not. We have a wide variety, a wide range of residents who are moving in. They range in age, I would say, from late 20s to maybe early mid 80s. Everything in between. We've got people who are still working, people who work remotely. We have people who are getting ready to retire. We have people who have retired. We have some who it's their second home. Some spend their winters somewhere else and their summers here. Some just go back and forth every few months. Some come once in a while. There aren't very many of those, but a lot of it. We actually have 2 of them that used to winter somewhere else, and they've just decided they want to stay here the whole time. So, but about
from professors to law school students.
Yeah.
And
so
do all of them or most of them have not a UM tie, but a Missoula tie? Are there many that are just coming here they've never lived in and have nobody here?
Yeah, so we have several who have lived in Missoula that they've decided they want to downsize, and they know that this is the place they want to be. So they sell their home here and they move in. We have others who went to school here and have gone off and done their career, and now they want to retire, and they've had always loved Missoula, so they came back and was like, this is where we want to live. We have others who grew up here and went off to go to college and then did their career somewhere else and decided to come back home. And then others who just happened to come to Missoula, fell in love with it, and decided they wanted to be here. Others who their kids have moved here and they want to be close to grandkids, and some who their kids are here going to school, they've fallen in love with it. They don't care if their kids don't stay, they're staying.
So it's a very eclectic mix.
It is. It's
and you
great.
mentioned some people here temporarily, or some people here part of the year. Do you offer concierge services to help those folks when they're not around?
Yeah, so we have a great service. And whether you're gone for 2 or 3 weeks or whether you're gone for 6 months, we have, with our property management team, they will pick up the mail. They'll go in and water their plants. We have cleaning services that they will do it however often you want while you're gone. If you want it every week while you're here.
Do your grocery shopping.
So that's one of the things we did.
Dog walking?
And dog walking is another
like
one.
Manhattan.
One of our
somebody for everybody in Manhattan.
Yes. One of our couples who lived there, they were gone for the winter and they came back and they had seen in our little brochure that we just sent that we started doing groceries. If you want us to stock the fridge when you get back. They were so excited. So they sent us their grocery list. They got home. They're so tired. They open the fridge and they have a full fridge and they can have a snack, go to bed, wake up in the morning, fix breakfast, and they didn't have to worry about having to go to the store first.
And that's really important because, as we all know, a lot of the flights that come in here come in 11:30 at night, and no one at that point feels like they want to swing by the grocery store or go grocery shopping.
No, and you don't want to get out of bed and have to go to the store to go buy eggs.
They want to at least have cream and coffee and that kind of stuff in their refrigerator.
There's a certain sector that we read about that they want their refrigerator stocked every other day. They want someone else to do it, and we'll do it.
I do it every other day. It's amazing.
Well, you're just stocked up with ramen for the next couple of days here.
But where is the nearest?
So Fresh Market is just across the river there in the old Safeway, and then Good Food Store is 7 blocks away. Fresh Market on 5th Street is not very far away, but we will be opening our own little neighborhood market. So we're really excited about that. That'll probably be next summer. I don't know, maybe,
Good.
About that. But we're really excited about that. Then you don't have to go very far at all. No. So if you're in the middle of dinner and you run out of wine, you have someplace to go grab another bottle.
That's important.
It's like,
the essentials.
My gosh, I need butter.
We were just talking about Lucky's before we got in here, how much we love Lucky's. Prepared foods.
We've heard a lot of nice things about that.
Yeah.
So this was all developed over a long period of time, 15 years, as you mentioned, and it's hard to do that because it's like skeet shooting. You got to aim ahead of the skeet and make sure you hit the target. So in looking back, do you think you've hit the target pretty well, given how things are going and and the vibrancy around the community?
I'd say yes. I'm when you're in the middle of it, sometimes you don't quite see it all, right? You need to stand back but the feedback we get from others has been wonderful. I think we're right on track. The recession and some other regulatory things held us back a bit, but darn it, I think we're in a good spot, and we're really excited about not only what's there now, but the things that are in the works. Like we didn't talk about the neighborhood inn. We've got we'll call it a small hotel that might have 20, 25 rooms that will help support people who have guests or
for that
or
one time
or others, and so this whole thing is coming together, and we can see it and taste it now. It's awesome.
Well, the neighborhood inn is a really good concept because a lot of folks, when they're downsizing, don't realize, what that really means, and when they end up getting an apartment that is reasonable in size, like 1,000 or 1,100 square feet.
We call that resizing, Arnie.
That's resizing or downsizing or
resizing,
resizing, reconceptualizing your life. But you may not have room for 4 people that are coming to visit, for example.
But how often do you need that extra bedroom?
So with the
having it there, then you can say, well, the second room can be my office. I don't need a third room, and we have the inn where people could stay. Right?
And people are really excited about
resizing.
Resizing.
Let me do a quick ID. Our guests are Leslie and Ed Weatherby from the old Sawmill district.
We're going to resize your lunch this week. So, what other things are on the drawing board? This is stuff that's within reach that you're talking about pretty much. This year, next year, is there where does the project go after that?
It's we've got a lot of things in the works. We talked about the restaurant. We talked about there's a new building. Actually, we're in building permit review. We hope to get that any day now. It's a 3-story commercial building that will start right across the street. And that begins what should be about a 6-building campus with underground parking, mostly commercial, but also some retail and so forth. But But then we're also doing our planning for the northwest corner of the project, which is all residential of various product types, townhomes, some different price points on townhomes, on condominiums. We're shooting on one. You want to talk about warehouse flats?
Yeah. So one of them, we're really trying to hit that $250 to $275 price point. So these are going to be 1 bedroom, 1 bath units, very open. We started out with having it completely open, and in some of our focus groups, we've been getting feedback that they want to have at least a couple walls per bedroom, which we're fine with that. We think that'll be great too. It'll have podium-style parking, so the parking is under the building, secure, but we don't have to go down and go in the ground to do the parking. But we think it's going to be a really popular concept. The sizes, that one we have the initial designs done on it. We'll be going more on that one this fall and spring. So hoping to open that one up. Then we have another
16 units, I think 16 or 18 units.
I think there's a few more, but we need to go back
and
and
what
look
size
again.
would those units be roughly?
I think they're around 800 square feet.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So
and that's
750 to 8.
Point. That's the whole driver.
Right.
That price point.
Yeah,
and then
we're
looking. We want a variety. We want a varied demographic out there, and truly to create that village environment.
Yeah, so we just master planned that whole residential area, and we're really excited about it. So we've got some townhomes that we're doing. They'll be the brownstone type with the big porches, and we're looking at doing just 2 that are attached. So you have one common wall, but it's not like you have this big row, and but that way you get lots of light into it. We'll have some that will have attached garages, and so your yard will be on the side and a little bit in the back. And then we have another model where you'll have the detached garage, so you'll have the house and the garage with a little bit of backyard in between, because some people have a little dog and they want to have a fence that they can put their dog in, or they want to have a barbecue and feel like they have a little more private space.
And when the dog paws you at 2:00 in the morning, wants to go out, you don't have to get dressed.
Exactly.
You just kick the back door open.
Yeah.
We're also hoping
dog door in
that same area to have a group of cottages, which I think will be really interesting.
And they'll be single family, so they will stand alone.
But the big project on the south side, again, is something that's been on our drawing boards for quite some time, and we're getting much more closer to making that reality now. And that is what we call our 55-plus active adult living project. And that means a lot of different things to different people, but bottom line is that it's a age-in-place concept where, and this goes into a lot of social research about as people age, they do much better if they stay at home. And this, we hope, will be a home for people as they're active, and then in some cases they'll have episodes when they're not. But nonetheless, it's another demographic in our neighborhood. It's much needed in Missoula, so we're really excited about that.
Ed affectionately calls it a dorm for seniors.
So you're not going to go all the way to, nursing care, right?
No. This is not assisted living in any way. It is all independent living. But we are associating with a firm called Hestia, who really does a great job with in-home care for people who need extra help, whether they get ill or they have an injury or whatever it is. Then they are able to go in and provide whatever level of care that a person needs, so they could still stay at home. And
a lot of them that need extra care resist it because they think that's the gateway to nursing home.
Exactly.
And this gives them the freedom to still live on their own, but have the the peace of mind of having support around them when they need it.
And this was a concept that I don't mind saying was initially conceived around the needs of our mothers.
Yeah, we were looking at the future and seeing what,
right.
Thinking about what would possibly.
Passed away some years ago, and our mothers are very active, and they love getting out and walking and being in the park and walking to the store and being very social. But being downtown is something that kind of sets it apart.
Are there any other developments in the state that you're aware of that are this ambitious?
I don't think so. People have told me that they have looked all over Montana and they've not found what we're doing. Wow. And that was one couple. They had looked in every single state, and that's why they chose to move to Missoula, was because they came and saw what we were doing, and they wanted to be here.
That's fantastic.
And so, yeah, it's pretty exciting.
And what sets it apart in some ways is the variety of residential units, but it has a very large and prominent and serious and professional work environment that will build out as this campus builds out, and so it's important in that way, and that all the pieces all fit together.
And no matter what happens, you still have the buttress and protection of Silver Park. You have, what, 11-acre?
14 and a half.
14 and a half acre park there.
And McCormick Park right next to that.
So you have that green space.
Yeah.
No
Right.
matter how the rest of it
can never
developed.
get too clogged there. It's always going to have, you'll have space.
Yeah.
We've had all kinds of reasons to work with the Parks Department, and they do a really nice job on that park. We were kind of around the fringes and hope we do our part well. I think we do. But it really is a really nice park environment. And McCormick Park right next door has the Currents Aquatic Center, a public indoor swimming facility.
And the All Abilities Park as well.
All Abilities Park, and 2 or 3 softball fields. It's busy all summer long. And the skate park. It's a great.
And they've got a basketball court out there. Yeah. So.
And the community bicycles.
Right, the community bicycles.
I love that city bikes.
Yep.
We have our own fleet now. We started with 4, and we're expanding quickly.
Hopefully, it doesn't decrease. So, Leslie and Ed, you're making a several $100 million commitment to Missoula. So you're a big stakeholder in the community. I mean, I don't know what's bigger than this. Maybe St. Patrick's Hospital, right? I mean, this is one of the biggest developments. Nobody else is contemplating this big of a development. Even the Riverfront Triangle isn't at the magnitude that this could be when you're doing all this. So you have a lot to say about what's going on in the community. You put a lot of money on the line. You put your life on the line, really, your business, professional life. Are you happy with the other things that are going on in Missoula? There's a lot of other things going on.
There are.
Is it meeting that target expectation?
Well, 2-part question. Can I add to your
sure.
question? Which is, has the city been supportive, the county and the city? I mean, are they supportive? Like how, and if there are areas where you want help, where can they help you?
I think that they've been very supportive. This was, like we said before, a blighted area. It had been abandoned. Transits had moved in. There were fires happening all the time. People, the neighbors did not feel safe. So they were very excited to see it come in. And the city, they were very, very supportive of it and very helpful. And it was a team effort to get this done and to prepare it for us to be able to come in and develop it. So, yeah, I would say it was a real partnership.
There's still more work to be done. We still have a lot of infrastructure, streets and infrastructure that has to get done, and we're hoping to work with the city on some of that, and parking. I would say Missoula has become my home, and being formerly from Colorado, this was a great place to move to, and it's become a wonderful place for me to live. And we see how other people who are moving here react to it. We forget sometimes there's so many things out there to talk about and to get frustrated about, but we also need to remember some of the good stuff that's going on.
Absolutely. How do you feel about some of the other developments, to Arnie's question?
Yeah.
Well, it's not just developments. There's also restaurants.
Everything else, yeah. So, and I was born and raised here. In fact, my father was born and raised here as well. So we've been here for a long time. So to see all of the changes that have happened, and, not just to our area. I mean, I can remember when riding my bike to the Big T to go swimming and seeing when this used to be a lumber mill. But all of the other things, I think it's been a huge improvement. There were a lot of areas in Missoula that were looking very tired, and I'm excited. There's a lot happening in Missoula right now, a lot of construction going on, a lot of development, and I think it's a great thing. I think that we needed to step up our game.
I think that there's 2 pain points out there right now. One is just the world of construction in general, that I'm afraid there are folks out there who are taking advantage of a situation where there's a shortage of labor. Material prices have gone up, and at some point lines will cross, and it just doesn't make sense to do anymore. But we have to just get more creative all the time and see if we can't keep that working. The other is that, this is no secret. There's a homeless environment that needs to be addressed in Missoula, and there's a part of that community that I think we're all very compassionate about. There's another part of that community that's just playing a criminal element, and we need to recognize the difference and deal with it.
tough to
I
balance.
saw there was in Seattle, there were 300 homeless camps.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's just, it's
How
hitting.
about Vancouver?
Yeah, Vancouver's all over the place
Oh, my
as well.
goodness.
So here are two comments I've heard in the last week or so about Missoula. And I wanted to hear what your reaction to those were from somebody who hadn't spent much time here. Two different people. One said, boy, I just came from Park City, and Missoula has so much more going for it than Park City, which was a comment. And then somebody the same week said to me, this is just a lot like Aspen here.
Aspen?
So, yeah, that's what somebody said. Now, I don't know what.
Say Jackson's more like Aspen.
So what's your reaction, particularly Ed, because you're from Colorado?
Well, ironically, we just early June, my niece, one of my nieces, was married in Ouray, Colorado, down by Telluride.
Right.
Beautiful.
It is a beautiful part of the state. Unfortunately, we're having forest fires down there already.
Ooh.
But as part of that trip, we did go to Aspen and visited, and on the surface, Aspen is a beautiful place. The homes, it's just a great place to walk and to enjoy walking to the parks and all of the restaurants and the social activity. And then when you go to participate, you realize that the price of entry is outrageous. I mean, a house that we would think of as a $300,000 house here is $1.5 million or $2 million there.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
So, yeah, and restaurants I'd say the price points are double what they are here. So I love Aspen. I love the environment there. I love everything about it. And Missoula will never become
that. No, that's good.
I don't see that happening. Park City, I would agree. The last time I was in Park City, again, beautiful, beautiful place. Great in the wintertime. Quiet. There's more music and stuff going on now there in the summertime as well, but there's a lot more going on here.
It's hot there too. It's hot in Park City. I don't know what it is about that area, but it gets super duper hot. Whereas we're
higher up, right? The altitude and sun,
but it's
intensity of the sun.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know what it is, but I've been there over the summer a couple of times, and I like this a lot more.
Yeah, what I've noticed, I mean, I haven't been here my whole life like Leslie, but I've been here 22 years. I've noticed a couple of things that have upped the game, I think, of Missoula. One is, and a couple of people, just like the two of you and 2 or 3 other people, can make a huge change in the community. And I'm thinking of Nick Chakota, for example, who came in and made the Top Hat into, a fantastic venue, made the Wilma into a fantastic venue, built the Kettle House Amphitheater, and that adds really a level of interest and excitement to the community. I think of, some of the tech pioneers that are here now, like Advanced Technology Group, because not only do they bring workers to town, but they raise the pay scales. Right. Companies like that and Submittable and Vim and Vigor and Luminad, and they're all paying, much higher wages than the average wage. And I think the average wage is often, a misnomer in how to describe a community, particularly in Missoula, because you do have a number of people now who are in the 6 figures that are living here. And this Sawmill does not appear to be, unrealistically priced for those folks.
No, we don't think so. Our hope is to have like I said earlier, a variety of product that would be interesting for people who have different capabilities, right?
Right.
Missoula is an attractive place to live. And when the ATGs of the world and ClassPass and others, retention is a huge part of the corporate world these days. So, recruiting and retaining great people is a difficult thing to do, and it's very, very expensive in other parts of the country. When you can entice somebody to come to a place like Missoula, it's the quality of life, the quality of living, and they may not make quite as much money as they might on an east or west coast, but it's a good combination of earning power and cost of living.
Well, I'll tell you an interesting story. I just had a med tech at the hospital who did some blood work and things on me. He's just moved here. He came here primarily. He's making $6 more an hour than he was making in Las Vegas.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
The pay scale here is better.
Mm-hmm.
I just I saw a doctor recently that's going to do some that I'm going to work with. He moved here from Bend, Oregon. He likes living here, and Bend has been always held up as this fantastic place to live. just moved here, from Bend, Oregon.
Well,
I
was going to say, I'm recruiting some people now from out of state, and I spent a ton of time talking about amenities and lifestyle. 5 minutes from a trailhead. There's trailheads everywhere. There is, you're a young family. You can enjoy the outdoors. You can recreate 365 days a year. I mean, there's just a lot of things that this offers, and there's no sales tax. I mean, like, you can kind of build it. You could build all those benefits.
You got the university, and universities go up and down, but we have a great university. We got a great regional healthcare system. It matches anybody. Even if you talk about big cities, you can walk in here and be seen right away, and there's a good cadre of physicians, and
there's a lot of benefits.
They're networked in. So all that's good. You got Andy Halloran bringing the Merc here. There's going to be 4 new restaurants in the Merc.
Right.
That's going to add more vibrancy to the downtown area. There's a lot of that kind of going on. Let me ask you this, Leslie. What of the product that's now available? What are the price ranges for our listeners? I mean, if you want to buy a condo or you want to rent an apartment in Cambion Place.
So if you want to buy a condo at Poly Square, the ones that we have left range from $311 to $530, depending on how big it is, what the finishes are, location of it, and it's really great underground parking, open floor plans, great stuff like that.
And the condo fees. The condo fees would be
condo fees $240 to $280 for a 2-bedroom.
That's not much.
$300 to $355, $360 for the bigger ones, but they cover a lot of things, including getting your exterior windows and screens washed twice a year. So, as soon as people hear that, they're like, "Okay, that's it. I'm in."
We're in.
So you guys a question. You guys, when I'm listening to this, it's so amazing how much they've done, right? How much you've done. What are you guys going to do next? After seriously, because
there is no next.
I tell Ed I'm going to put my feet up and have a glass of wine and sit on the deck.
Hopefully you can do that while you're doing this, though.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can do that while you're doing it. I do want to ask you that because I was trying to recruit someone. I'm like, work-life balance is really great here.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing it. You're putting together something incredibly spectacular and ambitious, but hopefully you have time to enjoy and take a look and see what you've accomplished.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, thanks for saying that. I think in all fairness, we're not good at that.
Come on, Ed.
I know. We have, I can tell you, we've lost more sleep than I ever have before.
It's,
but it's one of those things when you're so far into it, it's really hard to separate your personal life from your work life.
Right.
And when you work with your spouse 24 hours a day.
And we have a great team. We're now, I think, at 14. But it's a wonderful group, and they do take good care of us. And we do get out of town on occasion, and they make us proud. We don't have to worry too much about anything.
That's right. And, they're the best.
So, yes, we're going to get better at it. We're going to play more golf and get to the lake a little more often. But, it's serious, and it's big money, big commitments, not only to lenders and investors and everybody else, but commitments to our people, our team. And, so we're into it.
Let me loop back to Leslie because you talked about the condos. What about Cambion Place?
So Cambion Place, those range from $1,680 to about $2,380 a month for either one bed. They go 1 bedroom, 1 bath, different sizes, and then 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bedroom, 2 baths, and then different sizes, different locations. And then we even have a few studios that we will do short-term rentals on that are furnished. So some people are pretty excited about that too. So yeah.
That's a very, very good mix.
Yeah.
Well, Ed, I did want to tell you, I looked up Himalayan salt sauna. Okay, just to bring it back to that.
I should have Bridget here.
No. This is great, though. But what it is, and actually I just lost it. It is the Himalayan salt. They're on the walls of the sauna, the Himalayan salt, and it removes the impurities in the sauna for a cleaner schwitz.
Or bath.
Right. But it's, to have the only one in the state, it's amazing.
It's not something I've focused on a lot, but our team thinks it's a great thing, and they're super excited about it.
Oh, yeah, that's exciting. Anyway, let's take a quick break. We'll be back with our final words with Ed and Leslie Weatherby. Back after this. Okay, we are back here in the studio.
So I have to ask you this. I know you didn't just write a check for all of this. So tell me about the financing of a venture like this.
This is where I take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Well, it's obviously a lot of money. We have a great relationship with Stockman Bank. We fully repaid several loans, and we intend to have more and do the same. It takes a lot of equity. You know, when you talk about what'll ultimately be a $250 million-ish build-out, there's probably on the order of $75 million that was either injected into the company or was recirculated within the organization. So that's large any way you look at it. And I guess I have to attribute some of this to my initial background in the venture capital world. And we worked with 60-some companies, helped them with their equity financing, and then as they grew, helped them with their debt financing. So we knew a lot about that world as we came into this. And I was executive in residence at the University of Montana, and then same out at the LA Clean Tech Incubator. And so working with a lot of companies really helped us. And I ran a couple companies that were ultimately big infrastructure type organizations. So we came into this with some background, and we worked closely and have many foreign investors and our own personal capital, personal guarantees. It's a fully committed deal here.
So let me ask Leslie this. You know, your lifetime Missoulian, your father was born here as well. How do you see the future of Missoula? I mean, you're investing and betting on your products here, but you're also betting on the future of Missoula. So what's your take on that?
So, I like to look at it and see what we did, that we were looking at the future of Missoula. And we think that Missoula has a great place to go. We think it's a really wonderful place, but that it needed some growth. And so we wanted to bring something that hadn't been done in Missoula. And we think that there's more of that's going to continue to happen. And I think that Missoula is going to continue to be a great place for people to come in and do remote working, have great tech companies. There's a lot that can happen here. But I think it's just such a great place to live, and the quality of life is why people want to be here. Right.
Missoula, big enough to grow the future, right? So how do people get a hold of you?
That's Arnie's tagline.
That's my tagline. I use for everything.
So they can call our office at 203-3015. So that's area code 406-203-3015. You can go to our website at oldsawmilldistrict.com. And that will also have a link to all of our other projects as well.
Terrific. We're excited about this. And as other things open up and come online, we're going to have you come back.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, it's a pleasure.
It's a multi-part series. All right, Arn, I'll see you next week.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to What Do You Know?
I can't wait for the next show, Scott.
I'm excited too, Arnie. If you'd like to suggest a guest, send me an email at scottrichman@townsquaremedia.com. We'll see you next week. And thanks for listening to Newstalk KGVO.